the topic of this panel, because we want to have these panel discussions because, as it was said earlier, we are stronger when we come together. Nobody can achieve success on their own. So let's get some of the best minds together so that we can all grow stronger together. So the topic that we put together for this panel is all about connection. You know, in this world with technology, and we have some people that are joining us virtually, technology is amazing. But in this time where we can become so connected, I challenge that we are also becoming more disconnected, especially in the realm of work. So this panel is all about how as leaders, how as entrepreneurs, we can stay connected during a time of disconnection. So I have a few questions that I want to go through. And I just want to kind of ask, and then we'll pass the mic down to everyone. So when you're looking at this, and you're looking at the age of technology, what can be done, and what are some of the challenges that you are seeing as a leader, as an entrepreneur? What are some of the challenges that you are seeing with technology, and how is it disconnecting us in the workplace? So Leslie, we'll give it to you first.
I mean, the technology I don't necessarily think is the evil. I think that when we rely on technology and stress so much about it, it's the stress that's causing us to kind of sicken ourselves. We spend, and so what I mean by that is like, we focus all the attention on the tech stuff and making sure the Zoom is like set up properly, rather than just simply focusing on connecting with your team. And at a human level, asking them, like, what's going on today? Like, how are you doing? Like, we kind of lost that art of really understanding the heart of, if you're a leader in an organization, of like taking 15 minutes to check in with your employees and before you start throwing up your PowerPoint and going through it. We focus on the productivity and the tools. We don't think about the heart of the people.
Great, excellent.
I'm going to take it from a completely different perspective, because when you said disconnected, I thought, yeah, but wait a minute, you know, Facebook and all these tools, fantastic. It's just that we have such a disconnected political point of view world, and so much is happening. So when you share something that is, for me, very obvious, oh, I share this on Facebook, and then suddenly people are just replying and commenting, and it's like, what happened? What happened? So I have noticed, and what many people actually do now, we go to our own communities where we think the same. So then I don't need an argument, you know, all we together we think the same, everything's great, yeah. So we lose the perspective of challenging ourselves from different political or any other point of view. We actually don't expose ourselves for people not thinking like me. That is a huge risk in the world we are living in today. And if we just go back 50 years, that was common. We sit in a company and we had arguments, we didn't have to agree. But today, that can be dangerous if people figure out that you don't agree with this common sense what we should think, because you can lose your job. This is what I can see have happened on social media gradually, that we don't have any arguments any longer, we just think the same. And in that, we completely challenge innovation, because innovation requires that I can take in, have a discussion with Leslie, we don't think the same, but we still say, I respect that, let's focus on what we can agree about. And this is a challenge as I see it.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, this is a great question. Last week I had the privilege of talking at the Women Tech Global Conference about remote working, and I think this goes back to how do we choose? What is the best strategy? How do we allow women, especially, to be being fulfilled in their careers, but also have the flexibility? And I think sometimes technology for women, it allows them to hide a little bit more than they would be otherwise in the room. So I would say is think about it, how we are all coming in. One of the speakers, I think it was Dr. Dominique, she said everyone is watching us. They are watching us also how we interact, whether we are in a public speaking, whether we are in a corporate room, whether we are in a boardroom, whatever that might be. So I would say is, first of all, figure out what is the style you want to be shown to your team members. Is it coming to the office? Is it creating the, going on Zoom? Are you requiring people to be on camera, and how often do they do this? But also think about it, what is the connection? And I agree with the first speaker here. She said it's a human being, and we have to think about the humanity. But also think about it, do you always have to be on the camera on Zoom or Teams or WebEx, whatever that might be? Or is it enough to go for a walk with this person? They are on here, let's say in San Francisco, I'm in Philadelphia, and we are going for an hour walk. And we are talking to each other. And it changes the atmosphere, it changes how we are connecting. So for me, the biggest piece that I'm missing is sometimes is understanding who's on the other side, challenging individuals to step in, and have individuals come into the office, to the Zoom, to whatever the venue might be, from technology side or in person, and be themselves, authentic self, but also represent who they are and what they want to achieve.
Beautiful, wonderful. All right, for our next question, we touched on this a little bit, but I want to go deeper and hear from each of you. What are some specific examples of things you can do to build engagement with your people? You know, you just brought up about going for a walk, but what are some individual things that we can do as leaders for our team, or even as entrepreneurs with our clients? What are some specific things you can do to build deeper connections?
Ask for feedback. And instead of you being the one to kind of tell them, ask questions. And that's part of allyship, is ask your team how they feel, what they think, right? Like, ask them, but also listen to them. I think so many times in organizations I've been in, it's like always the male leader who decides. And I don't know how they came to that decision. I would love to have forums like this and smaller groups where we're having discussion, but I always ask for feedback. I don't give feedback unless I'm given consent around it. So simply by going to your employees, and don't be throwing out like a survey monkey. You know, that's an impersonal thing, right? That's another thing that we've gotten accustomed to do. Like, let me send you the Google form, let me send you the survey monkey so I can hear your feedback, because they're scared to talk to their employees. Like, you have to have a heart-to-heart conversation of like, I really want to know how to make this better. I want to understand from your perspective. And to just sit and listen and to not talk over them. I think that's what we got to get back to, is like, just ask. Okay.
Yeah, I will not talk so much about it, because in the end you have to serve them and love them.
I think that's the main key, but I will also challenge the employees or the entrepreneurs, the clients, what works for you? Because I can only serve when I know. If I ask you a question and you don't provide an honest answer, or you tell me because you think I want to hear this, then that's what you're going to receive. So I think the accountability lies on both sides. Tell us what you think. Tell us what works for you. There's no one mold. Some companies are fully remote right now, and the cultures are thriving. Individuals are stepping into every situation they are in. Some companies are in person and they are not thriving. Everyone is miserable. Some others are in the middle. So I think it's also what works for us as leaders listening, but also the employees being engaged and telling us, saying, this is what works for us. If you want us to be innovative, if you want us to be productive, if you want us to be engaged in the mission of this organization, we have to also have our voice. And I would say for all of the women especially, we don't raise our hand when it comes to what is needed for us. If someone has a small child, why aren't they saying, I can't be at 7 in the morning on that phone call because I have to get my child ready for daycare. If you have an elderly parent and you have to be at 3 o'clock to take them for whatever doctor appointment, say that. We are living in a technology-driven world, and let's use it to our own advantage.
Beautiful. And yes, definitely. I want to build off of that, because as we mentioned, you know, technology is here. And there are many beautiful things that technology can allow us to do that we weren't able to do 5, 10, 20 years ago. So from your perspective, outside of Zoom, because we're all familiar with that, what are some other ways that leaders can use technology to build connection?
Is it specific tools you're looking for?
I'm looking for specific tools.
So there's an app that I use with my clients and even people in my life, long distance friends who live globally, is Marco Polo. Anyone use Marco Polo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like old school walkie-talkies, but with video and real time. And what I like about that is that my clients and my friends, they see me speaking and they see my face. And I think that's the benefit is you see someone's nuances and their nonverbals, but when we're always on Zoom, we're all burnt out from that.
Oh, yeah.
And some of us are off camera and we don't really want to look at each other. But Marco Polo feels like you're bringing someone into your world. And I think that there's a deeper connection. Because I discovered Marco Polo this year, whereas before I was using Voxer and FB Messenger and WhatsApp. I was like, I keep getting cut off, right? But at least with Marco Polo, there's the understanding that they'll get back to me when they can. But with those other tools and things, it feels like I gotta respond right away. Like I hate Slack personally. Like I'm traumatized from Slack. I don't want to hear all the sounds and stuff like that. But with Marco Polo, it's already built in a way that's like, hey, get back to me when you can. And then you know that the person watched it, that they're digesting through it, and that they'll respond when you can. Whereas other tools, it's almost like this instant, like, it's insinuating that you got to get back to people right away. But I like Marco Polo personally when I'm interfacing with clients.
Love it. Great.
Yeah, I'm going to take it from another perspective. I had a volunteering team of 10 people, and I took a decision. I'm not going to decide what they should use. It's really up to the team. So I said, you're going to sit in different continents, so you have to agree and write an agreement how you're going to communicate, when you communicate, and what tools you feel comfortable using. And I was amazed with what they actually choose to use, because they have to agree in the team. And for project management, they use Trello. You can use a free version. This is now a volunteering team, so we try to minimize the cost here. And they use Slack, because in Slack they can silence things and you can have different channels. And the good thing with that is that they worked out that I'm only involved in these 3 groups because I said, don't come and say you have too much to do. You don't have to know everything. So lose control, trust your team. But that is all up to them. And then they use different sort of, whether it's Zoom or any other tool or WhatsApp or camera, video, they choose what is convenient at the time. But the important is that they know when they communicate where they're going to show up. And that I know when I'm in the meetings, because I'm not in all the meetings, because I don't have to know everything what my team is doing. So I said, don't inform me, I don't need the information. I trust you, you deliver every Friday, the last Friday and every month. And that has worked and been going on for 5 years. So if you give your team trust and they can choose the tools they want to use, they use it. And whether some people are not online or some people can't be on the meetings, we have a backup that everything is recorded so they can add on the information so they can catch up. And that has been working now for 8 years basically. But I closed the podcast now, so now we see. But that is how I have been dealing with my team, delegating completely to the team. It's not me that's going to decide what's good for me. It's only once a month I am on the meeting, so I use the tool I prefer.
Besides, I think these are all great points. I would also say it's depending on your company size. When I used to be at 50,000 people all over globally, there was more tools to choose from, and I loved Yammer, for example, because it was like Facebook for all of the employees, and we could all chat and post pictures and have the different groups, like cookbooks and all of that. Yeah, so it was always great to keep us all connected and create the culture we wanted, so it was in our hands. Now I am a leader in a much smaller organization, so you are somewhat dependent on the budget, so you have to be a little bit more thoughtful about what you are deploying and what's going to work best for the organization. From our side, we do all of the Microsoft versions, so we do the Teams. I really like Teams because it allows for the channels, as you were mentioning, so individuals can stay connected. You can put all of your files, and you can give permission selectively. So everyone who needs to be informed, they can review it. You can record them. You can be on camera or not. The one thing that I always say is for those individuals who are going to be on camera, what I like reflect about the organization I am in right now, even all of us executives, we know when we need to be dressed up so we look professionally, but also very often you want to create a culture where you sometimes look like you just woke up, right? I mean, it is reality. We all go to bed late, we all wake up early, and sometimes there is a 6 in the morning meeting, especially if you're talking to someone in India, or talking to someone in China, it changes how you are interacting. So showing to your teams that it's okay to sometimes look certain way, or be depending when, depending if this is they are also gonna then feel more comfortable utilizing all of the tools you are giving them to leverage, and they're gonna be less hesitant to say, oh, I always have to be perfect, my hair be done, and have a suit on. No, you can sometimes come in with baseball hat, clearly to different types of meetings, but there is that flexibility that we're trying to create the same way as if you were going to the office.
Beautiful. One last question for all of you, and this kind of builds off a lot of what we were talking about earlier with leadership, leading ourselves, of everybody watching us. How can you model the behavior so that your team, your employees, your clients see it? Because again, people are going to be modeling us and the behaviors and the standards that we set. So how can you as a leader model the behavior and the connection that you want to see from the people that you're working with?
I mean, the biggest way to model as a leader is to let your heart be worn on your sleeve. And what I mean by that is, like, you don't have to be perfect all the time. So like when you're struggling, I think to be a good leader is you gotta let people know you're struggling, right? You gotta let them see you cry. You gotta let them know that things seep into you, right? I think before, when I thought about women leaders in corporate, I was like, you gotta be a certain way, but to me it's like melt the shield, right? And let people know that things penetrate you. And I think especially now in the world, that's appreciated. Like, dang, I thought my boss was, she's tough and all this stuff, but I find leadership now, heartfelt leadership, of like, I'm really struggling, like I'm gonna take a couple of days off, you guys, I think that allows employees to kind of be more comfortable in talking about their struggles. And I think if we got better about saying, like, and an example of that might be when I was struggling with all the hate crimes and violence going on and school shootings, I literally told a woman leader that, like, I can't concentrate today. I just can't work at my desk. I'm just crying at my desk. And she gave me the most robotic answer ever. And that made me leave the organization. And what I mean by robotic is, like, dang, you didn't even say, like, she said, what shootings? What shootings are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know, but Leslie, during the pandemic, sometimes people react to things differently in a different way. And I said, Ellen, I'm pretty effing sure that if I have to sit around the table and talk to my kids about the possibility of us being spat on and shot, and someone hurt someone that looks like grandma, that I would probably still be reacting in the same way. And she passive-aggressively was like, fine, I guess you could take the day off. And just cut it, rather than a heartfelt conversation around, like, I wasn't aware of that, like, why did, like, I just didn't know. And I told her, you know what, I would have thought that a better way for you to be an ally to me is just to say, Leslie, I don't know what to say right now, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. Help me understand a little bit better.
Yes.
Yeah, I worked in different organizations, everything from American corporates to Swedish corporates to more private companies. University, I was an assistant professor, and then having my volunteering team. So I would put it this way, that first of all, you have to look at yourself. I am I, and my manager is another person. It's also it's a relationship you're building with that person, so you don't have to love each other, you don't have to understand each other. You're going to find a way of working together. And this is to understand your place in the organization. And if you can't play that game, maybe that company is not your company. This is extremely important to understand. And I coach many clients. I say, maybe you shouldn't work here. It's okay to quit and take another job. You don't have to stay here. We have one life. And since I've done that myself as an assistant professor, I had a choice. Do I want to go all the way in this academic world? One life? No. So I left. So I worked just in another corporate company, and then I decided the same thing. It was Kelly Services. Absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. So I left. No, I was fired. They fired me because I said to the manager, "You're the most terrible manager if I'm in your
Good.
9 o'clock Monday after, I got a mail. Yeah, thank you, fired. Yeah, thank you. I don't want to work here. We have a choice. So when you say, if I'm going to moderate myself to the people I have around me, I have to take the responsibility. Can I work in these organizations so I am the best version of myself? And I wasn't in academia. I wasn't at Kelly Services. So I quit it because I don't want to be defined as that person, that manager, that woman that didn't fit in because I just didn't fit in. So I wanted to be another woman, and I am another woman today because I surround myself with different people and I choose. So that is how I see. I moderate myself. I have a choice. Quit the job you don't want to have, for Christ's sake.
I think for all of us to think about it, what do we want to do when we grow up, right? That's the question we all have. And recently one of my mentors said, think about your life as having 4 different generations. So generation 19 to 20 years. So think about it. If you are in your 40s, you probably have 3 to generations to go. So maybe not. But even if you're in your 60s, you might have one generation to go. That's a long time. What do we want to be doing? And I agree with you actually. I think especially with technology, even looking around this table here, we have people from all over the world, from every part of Canada and the United States. It's much easier to find the job you want right now. And I think for us as leaders, we also need to know. Another former leader of mine talked to me about the S-curve. Sometimes we all have to be very, you might love what you're doing, but are you developing? Are you challenging yourself? And I think if we present it to our employees that it's okay to say, evaluate, no, I reached that top of the S-curve, there's nothing else for me to do, and bow out in the best way, then they will know that it's okay as well. Or if that's not going very well, if this is not serving your needs for whatever hostile behavior, the company culture, whatever that might be, lack of flexibility, for whatever your needs are, it's okay. And the last thing that I want to mention is, because life is so long and we have 4 to 5 sometimes, some people have even more than 5 generations to live, think about it how long that is. This is a marathon. You have a chance to change your every generation the way you want it. And that's because you didn't get your degree in your 2nd generation. That doesn't mean that you're going to get it in the 3rd. Quite frankly, that doesn't mean that you're going to get it in your 4th. It's a long journey, and I think we as leaders need to remember that and know that it's a long journey and present it, moderate ourselves, and also inspire others to always challenge themselves, because if we don't do it, who are they going to be looking at? And for women, when we go to that boardroom room where we are sitting, we are finding the first woman in that space. Make sure that you model that space for yourself. The other thing that I want to mention is, if you don't like the table you're at, there's plenty other tables, or you can create your own. So think about that.
Beautiful, wonderful. Let's give them a round